Welcome to an all-new episode here of Underground Florida. Today we have a true legend in the underground death metal scene. We have Paul Mazurkiewicz from Cannibal. Paul, thank you very much for taking your time to be here, man. It's a huge honor. First of all, how are you doing, man? How's life treating you during this pandemic?
Oh, man. Well, thanks for having me. It's be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm doing well, as well as I can. Hanging in there, right? Taking it day by day like everybody else. And just trying to be patient, trying to think positive, all those kind of good things. But it could be worse actually. So I'll take it. But yeah, doing all right.
So let's get down to the discussion about the album, and that is the title itself, Violent Unimagined. Now, has this album, especially for the name of the album, has it been throughout the things that have been going on with the pandemic, or this was just completely separate way before the coronavirus came in?
Well, I appreciate all the kind words, first off, but no, Violence Unimagined. It was just the next, that was the next chapter in the story, no matter what was happening, I guess, in the world, I mean, we don't really let anything kind of, shake us or bother us or influence us for the most part in what we do. We just do our thing. So, we just had to come up with a cool title like we always try to do when we make a new CD and everything, right? So, we decided to use that. I think it was a good phrase. Actually, I came up with that, but, just something cool, something that fits Cannibal Corpse, something that sums up what we do. And, just a pretty eerie title there that kind of makes you think a little bit, I guess. But, pretty much everything was completed prior to the pandemic. All the music was done. I mean, everything was pretty much written. The only thing that might tie into the pandemic slightly is a song on the record, Condemnation Contagion, that was written. And a lot of our lyrics do come together at the end, a little bit more towards the end of the writing process. Yes. And I believe that Eric Rutan, who wrote that song and wrote the lyrics, he ended up kind of, loosely basing it. Well, this is pretty crazy what's happening, and it's pretty horrific. So he did kind of tie that in. Speaking
of Eric, a lot of people are actually saying great comments about you guys having him on board with the band lineup. People are excited for Eric being a part of you guys, because a lot of people have been saying over the years that Eric should be a part of Cannibal Corpse. The first thing that a lot of people wants to know is, was Eric quite involved on making the production of this album possible? And if so, what was it like working with him with this album as his debut being in the lineup with Cannibal?
Well, yeah, I mean, Eric's, been working with us for a long time. I mean, it made sense for him to be in the band. This is his fifth album that he produced for us now. We've known him a long time. Exactly. We've toured with him with Hate Eternal, and, we've really been personal friends with him for the longest time. So, but he's kind of been the sixth member of the band for the most part in the last, 15 years. Like I said, being our producer for the most part. So it was a lot of work for him. I know he was up to the task, of course, and he's that kind of a guy. But yeah, I mean, he's such a great guy, great worker. You can't say enough about him, really. He fit us like a glove.
Now, the greatest thing about you guys, especially coming up with this brand new album, we always get excited for its cover. The cover stands out a lot more of what Cannibal Corpse represents. Something that I had the chance to check out by other different points of views and other people's, I want to say their own opinion, their own experiences by observing the illustration, is that technically there are two album covers. What can you tell me about the illustration on this album?
It goes back to, you got to kind of start from the beginning, obviously. Yeah. When we made Eaten Back to Life, Groove Back, it was only one cover, and that's all you really want as a band, I think. There was never extra covers or anything like that back then. It was, you get one cover and that's what that's it. That's the cover of the record. And we did that with Eaten Back to Life. And then, of course, when Butchered at Birth then came out, the second album, well, of course, we had some problems with that. And it's the record label. I mean, we don't have a problem with it. We want it out there. If it's up to us, of course, this is what our cover is. This is what we want to promote the band as. And that was kind of the start of, we had to do censored versions then, So obviously Tomb of the Mutilated comes up, our third album. And, another brutal piece of artwork there that's, very intense. Well, when we came up with the title, And the last couple have been fairly, I mean, they're all good. I mean, we love all the artwork and we love every cover we've done. Obviously, there's going to be more brutal, more intense than others.
Yes.
And this one, for a title like Violence Unimagined, in my eyes anyways, and I think everybody can, I have to speak for everybody, it had to be something pretty brutal. We told Vince, yeah, man, we need something brutal here. It's been a while. It's been a little while since we've had the ultra brutal cover, So he came up with that. We worked with him, and that was it. That was the uncensored version you're talking, where she's, chewing the baby or whatever. That was the cover. That was the cover we came up with. We came up with one cover here. Right. Kind of not even really thinking that, maybe this will pose a problem with some people or some countries, or here we talking about the censorships thing, or getting it into certain record chains or stores, or sites might not want to carry it. Who knows? Right. But we submitted it to the record label, and they were like, of course, yeah, there's awesome cover. But guess what, guys? I think we're going to need a censored version here because of the reasons I just mentioned, But that's the reason, So at least they tie in together. Both covers tie in exactly this, with the same piece of art and all that, and they're both pretty horrific. Even the censored version is pretty cool, pretty brutal, I think.
One of the coolest things about having this interview with you is that I've always wanted to get in touch with you guys and know a little bit more about yourselves, outside of the studio, outside of being on stage. Over the years, Cannibal Corpse has been recognized as one of the most brutalist death metal bands out there, in the world. There's a lot of bands out here in Florida and also in different countries and states that are getting active right now, forming their own bands, creating their own material, publish out there as they can, and let the audience decide or get a good feedback reaction towards their new music.
Well, I think it's a local band may, start out local, exactly, and they could be the next national, international act. I mean, to me, it's really just supporting good music. I mean, I think that's, I can understand people maybe not supporting just local music. I mean, in a lot of ways, if the bands aren't good, I mean, exactly. I don't know. I look at it as, if a band's good, you're going to support the band. If you hear this band and you're going, oh, wow, that band's awesome, I love that band. Well, of course you're going to go see them, right? You're going to go and buy a demo or what have you, I mean, I would like to think that, when you're starting out like we did, that you want everybody to come see you. But you know what? You only want the people there to see you that are into you, that truly like you, I guess, I mean, okay, you can support me, which is fine. I mean, but if you're not really into it, well, then, I don't know, that support is kind of, it's not, it doesn't mean as much. I don't know. I mean, it's good to support your scene, I guess. There's a lot of bands out there that are trying to do it and keep it alive, I guess. But at the same time, to me, it's, if a band's good, then they're going to, like you said, they're going to get that support that they need, that they want, because, they're going to be known. People are going to be talking about them, and they're going to, people will go to the shows, like you said, buy a shirt, but, support the band, buy the demo and all that. And before you know it, they're not a local band.
A lot of people say that the death metal scene here in Florida is not quite the same like it was before. And obviously, time changes. Once time changes, a lot of things starts to emerge and a lot of things starts to come up because it's part of, it's part of evolution, it's part of time. But now I'm seeing of this time point, there's a lot of young kids who are very into the old school. They love it. They love everything that has to do with the old school, the style, the way it was lived, the way, the bands used to do back then. How do you feel that now at these platforms, Instagram, Facebook, all these platforms that, these bands get to promote themselves?
Yeah, it's a great thing, really. I mean, I think it also comes back to, everything comes full circle. There's always going to be those, no matter what kind of musical style or fashion or whatever, it always seems to cycle kind of a thing, And I think we're in that point now, exactly like you were saying, of the old school is so prominent again. But we should have thought, I think, you should have had, well, the people want to, they want to relive, or they want to live that, maybe what they couldn't, like you're saying, if you're a young kid, you didn't grow up when we did or whatever, and 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 that was a special time with music. The early stuff, the old death metal. I mean, it's what you used to wear. I mean, it's just different these days.
During those times, what was it really like to hear? All the way from New York, you guys saying, "Man, Florida is actually it's just exploding right now with the genre that we're playing. We should get out there, go down to the South and show them what we got. Where we come from in Buffalo, we got to show them what we got, and show them that the scene of Buffalo also has a death metal scene."
It's such a weird kind of story too when you really look back at it. It's a lot of coincidence, in my opinion, too. I know so strange, really, when you look at it, that all these bands were based in Florida, and a lot of them in Central Florida here. I'm sure you had the ones in the South, like Atheist and Malevolent Creation started in Buffalo, and they moved down there. But really, almost every band that was in Florida started somewhere else. The only band I really think, the heaviest band out of all of them, the death metal band, would have been Obituary, that were really kind of born and raised in Florida. Everybody else was from somewhere else, and they just happened to be in Florida. So it was almost a little of irony there. Like, you got Deicide and Morbid Angel and Death, but then you had the smaller bands like Brutality and Monstrosity and everything. And like I said, Atheist. They were all based here, so it's just almost like just a coincidental kind of a thing. Like, why? What's going on here? Is it just because? Is it the scene? I don't think. What is it? So I think it was more coincidence in that part. But of course, the big thing was that drew us really to Tampa, and it was Morrison. Morrison Studios in Tampa. Obviously Scott Burns was doing some pretty remarkable stuff at that point, and it was groundbreaking. He had great recordings. He knew what to do with this kind of music and all that. And we wanted to work with Scott Burns, and he happens to be, of course, yes, where is he? He's in Tampa, Florida, and he, at that point he did what? He did the Obituary. I know he mixed the Sepultura. I don't think it wasn't recorded in Tampa, but he ended up mixing. And then, then you had other bands like Terrorizer that used Morrison, and Scott was involved in. And then everyone's using Morrison then because of what can be produced there. So yeah, and it's always, a lot of people think we moved to Tampa because of the scene per se.
Exactly.
And that really wasn't the case. So we're already a band that's international. We're already doing stuff. We're playing, we got our following, pretty good so far. So it wasn't like we felt we needed to move to Florida for any reason to better ourselves in that way.
Right.
We weren't moving to Florida to play amongst the scene. So it was Morrison that really brought us down to Florida, and then it kind of and then it lumped us in with the Florida scene, of course, because now Cannibal Corpse is a part of this, and we're living here. And then and then you got and then everybody and anybody came down to record. You had Loud Blast come from France, and even Napalm Death come to do a record, and then St. Gorguts. So many bands came down to work at Morrison, So it becomes this, known as the death metal capital of the world. And I think it was mostly because of Morrison. But like I said earlier, to me it was just very coincidental that all these bands are living in Florida at the time. Because you still had some great ones up north. Where we were from, albeit Buffalo, but you had Immolation, you had Suffocation right there, three from New York State, that were all up and coming. And Buffalo had an amazing scene at that time. It was thriving. It was a great scene.
One of the things that I also wanted to know is that most people does know very well, New York is considered the headquarters of the hardcore scene. Do you guys ever had any conflicts with some hardcore crowds or hardcore bands? Like, you guys mosh into each other and you guys say, "Oh, what the hell are you playing?" or "What are you playing?" Have you guys ever had that trouble before?
It was ever morphing. Obviously, Buffalo's way different than New York. It still had a pretty solid scene, but it's so far removed from New York City. You tell people, "Oh, I'm from Buffalo, New York." They immediately, "Oh, New York City." We are so far away from New York City. We're more like we're Canadian for the most part.
Exactly.
But I remember pre-Cannibal, back when we were growing up and we were into metal, and it was in the mid '80s. And you we seemed to always have like a, we weren't into like hardcore as much at that time. I mean, I think maybe because we were still too young, and and metal was metal, and hardcore is hardcore, and it didn't seem like the two could coexist at that time. But then you're looking back and going, well, we're young, and maybe that was the case in the early '80s, kind of a thing. And then everything started to cross over. Of course, I remember we saw a show in New York City when I think Cannibal. It might have been like '89, '90 when Cannibal was just formed. Or we went to go see Morbid Angel. Loved Morbid Angel, of course. One of the all-time greatest. And they played with. I know they played with Biohazard. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive Biohazard, and everything that you would think that would be a pretty crazy mix, for back then or whatever, and it was fine. Everybody is there to see some heavy, crazy music, and didn't matter, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's funny to think about all that kind of stuff, when you start, bringing back the memories, and it's cool to think of how things were and how different stuff was and how everything was changing.
Remember also that this was maybe when I was 12, I would say. That was, and that development when the internet was starting to expand a lot more. I was searching for bands, much heavier, much more faster, much more aggressive. And I remember, and obviously you're going to be, like, oh, the classic, but it was right after I saw the movie Ace Ventura. When I saw the energy on that scene, I said, who the hell are these guys? I was so intrigued, and my dad looked at me from behind. He was like, oh, God, that's Cannibal Corpse. I had to talk to you about this because this is something that a lot of people, still to this day, time is going on, passed by. In your personal opinion, how do you see yourself in the next, let's say, 5 years with Cannibal Corpse, or you just wait until life takes you to a different direction?
We've been doing this so long, and this has been our lives, and this is what we wanted to do as kids, and then we're able to do that. Not a lot of people can live their dream, and we're very lucky and very fortunate to live our dream here, to be in a band that's, as popular as it is, and to make a living off of it, all that kind of stuff. I mean, right, we're living our dream, man. So how do you not just want to take that to the end here? Take it as long as you can go. You only live once. Life is too short. But at this point, right, we've done it all. If it was all to end tomorrow, you can go, wow, what a run we had. We were a band for 32 years. We released 15 albums. We toured the world countless amount of times. I mean, we did it our way, all that kind of stuff. You do start thinking, like, man, I'm about to turn 53 years old. I mean, how can I do this till I'm 60? Can I, I would have never thought I would have even been close to be doing this at 50 years old, let alone like 40, back when we first started. So I think you just got to take it day by day. If you're healthy and if you're still in it for the right reasons, like doing what you're doing and all those kind of things, then, why not just keep doing it?
53 and you're still dominating on the drums, which still to this day, I'm like, wow, like these guys are still killing it.
Well, I appreciate it.
Now, as myself, I always tell this to every single one I've interviewed, and they will keep hearing me saying this all over again, but it's very important to hear different bands' personal opinion with metal music and also with their own music. Me as myself, I do suffer from depression, and I've gone through so much over the years that the only thing that ever stood me to this point of being active, of thinking more positive, of just being, very energized, of accomplish anything in life. And in this case, I've always said that metal music has helped me to fight against depression. And not gonna lie to you, it still is. So in your personal opinion, how do you see that, fans comes towards you, interact with you guys? Has fans ever told you that your music or any metal music helps them fight against the most toughest situations of all? Like, what are your personal opinions about that?
Oh, I mean, it's huge, man. I mean, music is such a powerful force, I mean, probably the most powerful thing in the world, really, I mean, and I think, you pretty much said everything that's so true, of course. I mean, it's going to be there for you. It's going to help you in so many ways. And we've heard that countless amount of times from fans going, man, if it wasn't for you guys, I'd probably be, I'd be dead or or whatever, or you've helped me through my darkest times because of whatever they were going through, whether it be depression or just something bad in their lives that that they had to deal with. But music is always there for them to comfort them, no matter what kind of music it is. I mean, exactly, the death metal, you would think it wouldn't do that, but of course it does. I mean, if you love death metal, well, no matter what the genre you love, that music is going to be so uplifting to you, and it's going to help you through the darkest times of your life, and keep helping you until the end, basically. So many times we've heard that, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you've really accomplished something, to go, hey, if my music can really touch people in that positive of way and help them, actually really truly help them to be alive and to want to wake up another day, or whatever, to move forward, to just to get on with their lives and do the best they can and all that. I mean, that's that's amazing. Such an awesome, wonderful thing to hear that from anybody. I mean, and it's always going to be there. Exactly. I mean, music is so powerful. You're always going to be able to, that no matter what you're going through, your favorite album, it's there. It's not going away. Right there. It's not changing. And then you're going to feel the way you feel by putting on those records or whatever you're playing. And I mean, that's just, it's you can't say enough about stuff like that.
You've been hearing this all day, all of your entire life, and it always keeps you saying, man, I should keep doing this, because not only I enjoy what I do, but everybody else seems to enjoy it as well, and it brings people together, All we're seeing between hate, people hating each other towards their race or their color of their skin or things like that, that's not what metal is truly about. It's more about bringing everybody together, no matter how disturbing the music is or how extreme it is,
Yeah.
What can people expect, right? If 2022, let's say next year, will be the year in which things are much more calm with the coronavirus, where will be the first gig that you guys will perform? Would it be here in Florida, or just be any part of where you guys already sign up to start getting run?
Yeah, that's a hard question. I mean, I would think we would be a little more local. It might make the most sense. I mean, normally when we're starting a tour anyways, we always maybe end in, we're usually ending in Florida, whether it be Tampa, Orlando, or Fort Lauderdale, close to home, obviously being based in Tampa. But you're always somewhere close by to even start a tour, for the most part. So I would think it would be something a little more, I mean, especially the way Florida is, we just had Deicide play last week and, probably a couple weeks ago. And, things are really seeming to be a little more lax already in Florida in those ways, more so than other states and all. So it would almost make sense for us to be, having our first show somewhere in the area in Florida.
Have you had the chance to listen to the new band, Inhuman Condition? And if so, what do you think of them?
Funny you should ask that, because if you know anything, if you followed Inhuman Condition and then you probably already read up and know what's going on, because I wrote 2 songs lyrically for them.
Really?
Oh, see, you didn't know? Well, yeah.
Not that part.
Well, that's out there. That's out there. What happened was, I'm good friends with Jeremy Kling and actually Taylor Nordberg, really good friends with those guys. And, Taylor asked me if, great album, great music, by the way. I mean, great old school death metal,
yes.
Definitely awesome. Very great. I love it. Taylor asked me if I could write a couple songs lyrically for them for the record, and I was like, man, I'd be honored, because I write for Cannibal, of course, and I haven't written lyrics for another band or different kind of music. I mean, obviously death metal, but different kind of a death metal than I haven't done that. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you guys are great. Love those guys. I mean, but the song "Killing Pace" that is on the album, that's the one I wrote and arranged the lyrics for, So I felt honored and flattered and all that kind of stuff that they got me involved in that. And I was very excited. So
I just got goosebumps right now.
So when you listen to Killing Case, that's my lyrics and my vocal patterns. I have to go do what I do for Cannibal, with how we write our lyrics. If you know how that goes, where George doesn't do them. So us guys are writing, arranging, and then we have to do the scratch vocal tracks for him to learn over and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it's I'm glad it's working for them. Yeah, they seem to be. I know that album comes out next month, and their pre-sales are going pretty smooth, and a lot of people are excited to hear this and all that, and getting some good reviews. So that's that. I'm very, very happy for those guys. It's awesome.
The third one is actually if there's any advice that you can give to kids that are involved into metal music and they're starting their own bands, what's the best advice can you give them regarding of your experience during the years?
I mean, you just got to stay true to yourself, man. You got to follow your heart, follow your instincts. I mean, you got to do what you love. Music is that kind of a passion, of a creative outlet. I mean, you shouldn't be starting a band or anything for that matter because for the wrong reasons, especially in a creative sense,
Right.
So, I mean, that's what we did. We followed our passion. And that was playing this kind of music, and we were, if it wasn't meant to be, so be it. But, we were going to try doing what we love to do. And we got, things worked out. I mean, with whether it's, a bit of everything, hard work, luck, all that, being at the right place at the right time, all those things, but at least I can, if it failed, I could look back on, I tried, and that's all you can do, because nothing worse than not trying and following maybe a passion that you look back and go, well, I wish I would have, but I didn't, well, then it might be too late, So I we got, like I said, we got very, very lucky, and we're able to do this for our whole lives basically now, but it was really just sticking true to what we believed in. We did what we wanted to do. Well, we didn't do what was popular or what's going to make us a living, what's going to make us a money, what's going to give us this and any of that. Music should not be about that, no matter what the style, metal, or anything really. You should be doing it because you love to do it. And and hopefully good things come from that. Like I said, if they don't, well, hey man, you tried, and that's all you can ask for.
And this is going to be the final question for this interview, but this question is entitled, basically comes from me, and obviously I tell this because it's a bonus question. It's a bonus question just to, just for fun. So for your personal opinion which is the first death metal record? Was it Scream Bloody Gore or Seven Churches?
Well, that's always a one-up for debate, and it is a tough one. I mean, I would probably have to go with Scream Bloody Gore. I think that was just a little bit more death metal in the vocals and in the music. Seven Churches was still, it had maybe a little bit more thrash elements still happening than Scream Bloody Gore was not thrash at all.
Right.
I don't think that's thrash at all. I think that's just death metal. And then exactly the vocals. Becerra still had that, an evil voice, kind of like Tom Araya. I mean, it's a great voice. Was it ever really, is it considered death metal? You can't consider Tom death metal at all. Yeah, and that, in my opinion, I would say definitely Scream Bloody Gore would be that album over Seven Churches. Like I said, nothing against that. Seven Churches, because man, Possessed were amazing. What a great band, and I love both of them. And I love Scream Bloody Gore, my favorite death record, of course. I mean, that was so influential for us.
Well, Paul, looks like you definitely answered with your own opinion, and obviously everybody who is watching this interview has to respect it, whether they agree or disagree. It is what it is.
That's right. Yeah, everyone's got their own opinion. So, but that's mine.
Paul, thank you very much. It's been a huge honor. Thank you for all your honest words, your honest opinion, and maybe we'll see each other and bump into each other at some point.
I'm sure we will, man. I appreciate the interview. It was a lot of fun, and you just keep metal alive, keep death metal alive, keep the brutality alive, and exactly, it'll all come back to normal sometime soon, and we'll be playing for everybody, and all the bands throughout the world and Florida. We'll be seeing some music again soon. So, but
take care, man. Thank you very much.
All right, man. You too. Have a
Stay
good
safe.
one.
You
Stay
too.
safe. Right. All righty. Bye-bye.
Cheers.